is Chris, and this will be my review for Blue Beetle. Now, a quick synopsis of the film first. Now, Jaime Reyes, back from college, Shannon Luck, looking for a good job and finds an opportunity at the court building where he stumbles upon the scary, the artifact that unleashes the Blue Beetle's powers, and he takes it home, and then he chooses him and he gets the powers. But then, oh no, what? Susan Sedaris' character, she's trying to assign her own special tech that hinges on the Blue Beetle technology, and then she's gonna come after him. So that's a quick synopsis of the film. There will be no spoilers in this video. Now, let's talk about Blue Beetle. It has been a long journey for Blue Beetle, and I was someone that was first introduced to the character throughout the Batman Brave of the Bold animated series. I was believed if he was in the first episode of that show, or at least how I remember. And from there, I would just see Blue Beetle here and there in different media, Young Justice in the Unjustice video games, and then eventually pushed me into reading some of his comic book appearances. And he's a really fun character. So I was absolutely surprised when the previous regime, the heads of Warner Brothers, greenlight this film, but it was going to go straight to streaming. I believe HBO Max at the time, and I was like, why would you do that? That's an odd choice. And at some point, it looks like that was a plan for some of those DC movies, make some big budget superhero movies, but let's basically release them for free online. That's the smart thing, right? But and like, of the three movies they had planned, only Blue Beetle survived because Batgirl got canned for that purpose, and the Wonder Twins was like 2 weeks away from filming, and then it got canceled. But Blue Beetle made it past everything, and they have this movie that was built to go straight to streaming, and they didn't think it was going to go and be a big theatrical release, but they rolled the dice on this film and they said, let's put it in theaters and see how the people respond to it. And look, when I saw the first trailer, it got me pretty hype, and I'm not gonna lie, but I obviously understood some of the criticisms of looking a little bit cheap, maybe not looking as high a budgets as we used to with some of these comic book movies, but I feel even throughout the trailers they nailed what Blue Beetle should be in terms of fun and charm and representing some Latino culture. And I still was very hesitant, and I was preparing myself as a Blue Beetle fan for this film to just get trash. Now, after watching the film, I feel like you had to be woken off on the wrong side of the bed to walk out of the theater and being upset with this movie. I think Blue Beetle is a lot of fun. I definitely had a blast watching it, and it's not without its faults. Don't get me wrong, this is not comic book movie of the year, but man, I couldn't stop smiling throughout the course of the movie, and it did exactly what a DC film should do. It get me excited for the future of DC because of what James Gunn is telling us is true, and what he posted at the premiere of Blue Beetle, saying, I can't wait for audiences to meet Jaime Reyes, who will be an amazing part of the DCU going forward. So that's very important, and I'll say that I'm very looking forward to see more of Jaime Reyes. Solo Maridueña absolutely shines as this version of Blue Beetle. He has so much charisma, charm, and this is like his big screen debut. I remember him watching him in the Cobra Kai series. He's very good, and he easily transitions into movie status, and all the fun here mainly come from Blue Beetle and Jaime Reyes character. I know this is exactly like a teenage teenage since he's a college graduate in the movie, but he has all of the energy and fun of a teenager who just got their powers and who's trying to balance like a normal life with the superhero life. Not to mention how perfectly this movie showcased the powers of the Blue Beetle and why it would be an exciting superhero from the different weapons he can conjure up to the sentient scarab taking over his body and just making it do all martial ups. And even I think by the end of the movie, I think they still barely scratched the surface of what the blue of the scarab and Blue Beetle can do. And that left me wanting more. But it wasn't just solo Maridueña who was wonderful in this movie. The entire Reyes family, I fell in love with each of those characters. The family dynamics here work so well, from things they will watch on TV, novelas, the music, some of the phrases they will say, and some of it I connect with my childhood, and that for sure made me connect with the movie a lot more than expected. And when the film gets to like the emotional parts in here, yeah, they got me. I was teary eyes, I was holding back tears, but I think even as a outsider looking to the Latino household, you really get to like them. I mean, George Lopez is absolutely hilarious in here. He's giving a lot of to do in this movie and he's giving the most of the jokes, but I think there's still something there to connect with and for you to get emotionally attached to these characters with stuff gets a little serious. And a big topic of debate among superhero movies these days and sometimes DC films is like the visual effects. How is it? I think for the most part the visual effects really rocks. Not all of them are absolutely perfect, but I think there was a good balance here of practical and visual effects. And like Jaime Reyes' suits, it's all practical effect, but sure when he's flying up and doing some crazy stunts, the suit is fully CGI. But I really appreciate that. For a lot of the time it's just a physical suit with practical lights making like and whatnot. It just make it feel so much tangible and badass. Like I couldn't help to look at the suit and go, man, I want to have that thing so bad. Same thing goes for a lot of the fight scenes. It took a lot of inspiration from the Blue Beetle in the Injustice game and to a lot of those combos and move in here, and you can definitely feel that. And some of the good hand-to-hand combat. I also want to praise the score here. They really went with like a techno swing wave score to kind of match the high-tech suit, and to me it ended up fitting really well throughout the movie. Now, before I get into some of my negatives and things that I was mixed about the film, I also want to praise the movie because I was mentioning before this film get me really excited for the future of the DCU. While Blue Beetle, you can easily see they can connect this movie to a future DC universe that is yet to be built, because James Gunn keeps saying, yeah, Blue Beetle will be part of it, but Superman Legacy will be like the first DCU movie. There's reference to other DC superheroes in here, but there's such a vague point that you're like, oh, that's probably Henry Cavill Superman. Oh no, that's probably David Cornsworth Superman. In fact, I think Blue Beetle does a good way of treating like the DC universe like it's fully existing with heroes. They casually mention of people in different cities and whatnot. It just makes you feel like, oh, this is a world where other heroes exist. But it's not just the DC world. Blue Beetle himself, for a long time, Blue Beetle fans, there are a lot of Easter eggs and I would say details about the previous Blue Beetle in this movie. That's one aspect of the movie that kind of shocked me. Tekko, who we do get to see the Blue Beetle bug in all the trailers and whatnot. Tekko shadow is like a large part of this movie. They really want to make it clear that Reyes wasn't like the first Blue Beetle. There have been previous ones, and there's a mystery going on about them, where they could be, what happened to all of them. And that just really feels in the world and builds this intrigue. And by the time the movie ends, you're like, oh, please give me a sequel, because you really invested with this and want to see the rest of the story. But okay, now with all those big positives aside, now let me be honest with you with some of the things that I think they host the movie back. And I think the movie is filled with a lot of cheesy, silly moments. While the film has a lot of heart and charm, that's gonna make it a long way than feeling like the average comic book movie. There's still like a couple of cheesy things they throw in there, like with the Nana's character, that I really did like. I thought that she was absolutely funny, but some of it, sometimes it goes over the top. And it's filled with a lot of pet talk speeches about you can do this, you have it in you, you know, those superhero cliches you will see in early superhero films. And that's kind of the thing you notice a lot more now that we are in a saturated world with hundreds of superhero movies out there. Watching Blue Beetle, you see some things and you will go, oh, that reminds me of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Oh, that family dynamic is a lot like the Shazam movies. Okay, the tech and the way he talks to the suit, that's kind of like Iron Man. And I think that's why you see a lot of people like bringing up the Latino representation, and why that is a fun, refreshing thing, because that's what makes it a little bit unique. Some of the things that feel very familiar that we have seen in other comic book movies. I also think that the villains here are a little bit one-dimensional and bland, where I think the fake suits and the villain who's fighting Blue Beetle are really fun and awesome to watch. They're about as your typical fight scene in your superhero movie. But I'll say they had something that happens at the ends that it was kind of unexpected, and I was like, oh, that's refreshing. I like that. I will also say that this movie takes a little bit to get going, and while they have to introduce these new character and the family, there's a bunch of new characters here, and the dynamic and the issues they're having. And though I'll say the movie doesn't really start to get off until Jaime becomes Blue Beetle, but immediately after that, I feel like the movie just gets better and better. Until the end, and you hopefully just have like a big smile like I have when the movie was over. So yeah, as far as origins superhero movie goes, I think Blue Beetle is a really solid movie. It's not going to knock it off the park or be legendary, but I think it's a very good, entertaining, and fun film, and you're definitely going to have a blast watching it. Also, the director Angel Manuel here did a fantastic job directing this film, and hopefully we get a sequel and bring him back for the sequel. I think he's the one of those key important components to how to make this movie work, because he understands the Latino culture. But I think the fight scenes were good, and I think some of the stylistic choices that he made here, I really applaud them, and I think were very intriguing and interesting. So, and I can see him maybe targeting another big movie, a big superhero movie or other franchise, and he's very talented. And I would say this movie it's not only because it's good, you have to go and see it, but it's a lead Latino. It has the exploration of the cultural Latino community, and and I think that if you want to see more of that, you have to go and support it. And I think it will all depends on the box office. If this superhero really is part of the new DCU, I hope so, because I think Solo Maridueña is just perfectly cast as Jaime Reyes. So I absolutely he gets the character right from the start here. So I would like him to to keep going with this character, and also seeing the family back and all this character, because it's a lot of fun. And I think that it's the new DC movie, and I think that if you go and it's successful, I think that yes, the characters here will be part of the new DCU, but you have to go and see it. And I think if you want to go and have like a fun night in the theater, go and watch the movie. And also, it's just a fun time watching it. So that's my review for the Blue Beetle. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.